So this podcast 505 popped into my algo, so I saved it to watch it a little bit later, and here it is. Gonna watch it for a little bit, see what these guys have to say and their train of thought. It's labeled AI is about to break social media forever and no one's ready. So this is a big talk. Everybody's talking about this right now because it looks like we are seeing the initial phase of the disruption across all industries. Specifically, the one that got hit the most first was content creation, social media, anything designers. So everybody's starting to talk about it to see what they think and what's going to happen. So let's go right into it.
You know, platforms are changing. One thing that's not, the one-handed crack. Check this out. Oh my gosh, I cannot keep getting away with
Was
this.
that AI?
Yeah, that felt like it. 8-4.
Whoa,
What do you got
whoa.
for me?
Hold on a second. Let me go back. Did he just open up a can of yerba mate?
Gosh, you know, platforms are changing. One thing that's not, the one-handed crack. Check this out. Oh my gosh, I cannot keep getting away with
Was
this.
that AI?
Yes, that is yerba mate. Come on. Already we don't start good. Bro, this is the real one right here. Yerba mate. And you drink it hot. Although you do in the summer, it is a tea that you drink. You can drink it cold. It's actually really good. But out of a can. All right, whatever. Let's continue.
AI?
Yeah, that felt like it. 8-4. What do you got for me?
Oh my God. False
And one
start.
thing that also will never change is Kostas not doing good at the one-handed crack.
Dude, I'm going to
Okay.
use.
Yep. just
Holy
table
crap.
it right here, buddy. Yep.
I'm going to use, what is it, Veo 3? I'm going to.
We'll change that up after, and then you won't have to worry about it. It'll be fine.
It's a bloodbath out there, brother.
I think it's genuinely terrifying what's happening right outside this door. I mean, dude, I'm seeing guys that are streaming their panhandling right outside on La Cienega.
Jason Nath? Or what's his name? Jason Nath? What's his name?
Jason Nash.
Jason Nash, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I haven't left the house in a couple days because I'm scared to go out there. I just don't know what's real and what's AI anymore.
I keep getting these videos of Bigfoot and Sasquatch. It's all my feed is right now, and they're taking me on weird adventures.
So here's the thing. I was on.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean you can tell it's not so much like social media is now flooded with all the AI, artificial intelligence, content creation, videos, photos, but it's not so like perfect, like 100% where you can tell that if it's real or not. I mean, some of them you can tell it's not real, but like he's saying, some things are convincing.
On the plane coming.
My feed is right now, and they're taking me on weird adventures.
So here's the thing. I was on the plane coming back from Greece, and I go in the group chat. I text you and Kane, and I go, Kane, what the hell's going on? I watched his video, and then we watched another video called We're Not Ready for Superintelligence. We'll link both Kane's video and that video down below. I'm kind of scared. I was like, we're about to take off. I'm having a little bit of anxiety. I'm already have a long day ahead of me. And I was like, dude, are we cooked? Is this AI going to cook us or what?
I think Kane brought up some really interesting points that we'll touch on in the episode. And it really revolved around right now, right? When we first started social media, okay? The platforms needed us. Facebook, Instagram, they needed creators to be able to make content to then be able to make their model happen where they put ads in front of our videos. And now we're seeing a total 180 shift where so much of the content in the next year or 2 years or 3 years is going to be AI created, right? It's still going to be humans behind it making these videos. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But they're no longer going to need us to be able to make their platform work. They have a million videos that are uploaded every day that are just purely AI, right? So they can still put ads in front of that stuff. And I think that is making it harder for people to stand out. And we'll talk today about how we think all of you can stand out on social, because one, we want you guys to be successful.
Absolutely.
We want you to be able to come here and be like, okay, I have a plan going forward to be able to actually make this a career and make this make sense, whether you're, have a business and you're trying to promote it on social media, or you're a traditional creator and you rely maybe on brand deals and what the future of that might look like.
What's happening is the playing field of content creators, professional content creators now that have matured, they are faced with the new competition, right? So they are going to be in competition with the level of people that are below these professionals. And now this level of people that couldn't make any content or didn't have the skill to make content, this level fed this level. And now in the middle, they build the platform that bridges them together. So this level of creators that never got to this part can now slingshot. They can slingshot over them because you can literally just ask it to do anything you want. So you don't need a camera. You don't need to buy expensive stuff. You don't need to travel, waste money. Where these guys, or all the content creators, had to physically go to places, film them, create them, edit them. You know what I mean? It just took a time, money. And now these engines that merged people that were consumers of the content can now build a community based on artificial intelligence content creation and match or even increase the competition and become a new market. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what they say.
And the reason why we wanted to talk about this is because we rely on this as our jobs. Not only do we create content for ourselves, but we create content for brands. It's literally how we make a living. And so that's why we kind of got into a little bit of like a doom state of like, are we cooked? How is AI going to change our careers? And things obviously are changing, but we want to talk about how they're changing and how we're going about being able to counteract that and kind of survive this AI content revolution.
Do you want to start with the good news or the bad news?
Let's start with the bad news.
Okay. Right this second, I think that consumers are still preferring content made from real people like you and me.
Sure.
I think there's going to become a time, though, where they don't really care and you're not going to be able to tell necessarily.
Which is a really hard thing for my mind to grasp right now, because when I see right now on my feed AI content, it's easy to tell that it's AI content. And I personally prefer the people that are real people over the AI content. And more specifically, people that I know in real life. I'm like, I want to see what my friends and favorite creators are actually making. I don't really want to see AI content. But something we were talking to like Gary Vee about and Kane is AI content is going to get so good because it's the worst it's going to be right now. So AI content is going to get so good, you might not be able to tell the difference between what's AI and what's real. And people might, because it might become so the norm, people might actually prefer the AI content.
And Gary was talking about this a little bit in our...
Well, also, like you mentioned, the consumer that I mentioned before, the consumer that watches the professional content creation that consumes that content has the opportunity now of going full throttle, all chips in creating their own professional content creation at an extremely low cost. And they could just start pumping out AI stuff all day. Like maybe double, triple the amount of what human content creation can do, because I mean, like I said, it takes time and money. So that process is slower, took a lot of time to build, and now anybody can just come and pump these things out on a daily basis.
Our episode with him about how, I think it was maybe after for a brief second, about how he would go all in on an AI influencer company right now.
Which is wild.
Creating like 12 different characters, and you got like all kinds of different people, men, women, whatever, and like, hey, these are our 6, this is the other 6, like what do you prefer? Like this one talks primarily about sports. That is so weird to think about that becoming, and those companies are a thing. We've looked into some of them before this episode, and like that is already out there. People have AI influencer companies, and I believe was it H&M was one of the first companies to, or was it H&M? No, I'm blanking. There was a model, I believe it was for H&M, that said, today I'll be doing a shoot in New York and LA at the same time. They've licensed they've licensed themselves out to be on another shoot and to be able to upload themselves to this, you know, this platform, to where they're still doing a shoot in New York, and they're getting paid for their likeness, which is so weird to think about. So I wonder if there's a world one day where, and I think this will happen, where you'll have like these huge athletes that'll be scanned, and then they'll just be on, you know, a set for Dove or a set for this other company, and they're not even going to have to be there. They will just be doing their sport, which is so weird to think of.
It's not weird. They actually said, I mean, I get it, it's weird, but it's not so weird in this day and age, because there was an interview, I believe, with Keanu Reeves and the girl that plays Trinity. I forget her name, the actress. And they had also like a sit down. I forget where the podcast was, but Keanu Reeves was saying, because of the Matrix, that he needs to kind of license his image, because you can literally just find any photo of him and paste it on a 3D model, and now you can generate videos of any celebrity you want. So now that's why the playing field is going to level out and some, because you can model a person and have them in 50 different locations at the same time doing whatever you want.
Another thing that's crazy is, because AI is just going to continue to get so good, I feel like it's going to understand what humans want more than we realize what we want. Like the AI is going to understand our behaviors and our tastes and be able to curate content around that. And that's why I think people are going to prefer the AI content, because the AI content's going to know exactly what you want more than a human.
I really do think, though, that it's going to be a pendulum, and I think it's going to swing all the way over to the left, where people, I think that could be a future thing, where people are like, I just am watching this type of stuff. I think, though, that you're going to want to support the rocks like us.
Totally.
And the people that I know and we all know and love on the internet, like I think we're going to be searching them out. If their stuff isn't being shown to us, like I'm going to want to go and support my favorite creator. And I hope that's the world that we live in.
Before we get into where the future,
or like I said, it's a new market that's going to come into play. Obviously, you know, you want to support your human friend, but it's just it's kind of like a new market that is emerging. Like everything that emerged, like for instance, an example, on Instagram, it was the platform for photography, and everybody did photography, and the whole community was about photography, and that was it. And then video started rolling in, and all the video creators flooded Instagram, and then all of a sudden video became the new, you know, kid on the block, and all the photographers got pushed out because the market demanded video. And just like that, it looks like, from what I'm seeing, there's a new market. It's called AI content creation. And because people have access to it, it's going to be the new market. And if the market wants it, they want it. Or they don't, they don't.
Future's going with content, and how you can become like irreplaceable in the things that we're personally doing to like create incredible personal brands. Let's get into like the 6 key problems that are coming with AI. We have 6 written down. They're kind of scary, but we're gonna list them all out and kind of go into them. So the first one is content overload. With AI content, it's gonna be way easier to create content. And right now, let's say there's 100 pieces of content going out a day just to have a nice round number. With AI, it's gonna go up to like 10,000 pieces of content a day. So because there's a lot more content going out, it's going to be a lot harder to stand out.
So at this exact moment, tens of millions of videos on TikTok specifically are being uploaded per day. So you can see how crazy this is going to be. And that's just with us right now. Real rocks, like you and me and, you know, all the people out there listening. Imagine what this is going to look like 6 months from now when every single person is those people are posting 10, 20, 30 different pieces of content a day. And a real person is posting maybe once a day, maybe.
This goes back to an article that just came out where Threads by Meta, Instagram, has jumped in monthly active users, and by what we're talking about here, what they're talking about here, it could be something along these lines. You know, the AI content creation is pushing more active users, more activity in certain platforms like Threads that just came out. They just had an update where they're seeing an increase of now 400 million active users per month versus like 100 back in, like 3-4 months ago. So that's another thing. It's like people are producing more content. Now it's going to skyrocket as far as the content that's being produced.
Maybe 4 or 5 times a week. And it's going to start to flood our feeds where I think there's just going to be this huge shift of, instead of it being maybe right this second, it's 90% human. These are made up numbers. I don't have the data on this. Maybe it's 90% human content and maybe 10% of it's AI. I think that shifts and completely flips upside down where now it's 10% our content, maybe even less, and the rest of it's going to be AI.
2 issues come with that. One, the AI content is going to be so much more optimized, right? So we all talk about how important like the first 3 seconds is with short form content. You want the hook, you want to be able to story tell. All of this stuff, AI is going to do it a lot better just because it understands how to create the content and how to optimize it. So you're competing against really good content. And then because the output of content is going to be 10,000x, discoverability becomes so much harder. No one's just going to kind of stumble upon you because let's say you're scrolling and you're competing against 100 different creators. Now you're competing against 10,000 or maybe more pieces of content. And so because there's so much more content that's going to be flooding the feeds, it's going to be a lot harder to be discovered.
Well, I mean, the game's going to change. The rules of the game are going to change. The algorithm is going to change. Everything's about to change. I mean, it comes with the rush. It comes with the new market that's going to demand new content. It's just it's a natural thing, So yes, basically the rules of the game are going to change, and somehow, some way, it's going to be like some adaptability that needs to be done in order to accommodate whatever you're doing now, to understand how you're going to approach your new strategy now in this new AI content creation or competition, to say the least, because it's not really you competing, or like a professional content competing against another professional content creator. It's the anybody can do it versus the top tier, or it's just one big, unless the top tier decide to get in and start messing around, and it's like a whole wild west.
I do think though that we are going to crave like the Casey Neistats of the world. Mm-hmm. Like that type of stuff I think will always have a place, and I think we really need to lean into what our strengths are as humans and like what we do really well. There's no way that AI is going to be cracking jokes like us, man.
This is the same conversation that was said about photography and video. This is the same conversation that was said about, I don't know, web design and mobile. It's just what happens, you know. So when there's a market for it, if the market demands it, you can't tell the market they can't have it.
Dude, but here's the thing. We say that now.
I know. We're
There
literally-
might be two rocks that are
the 605 pod.
yeah, the 605 funnier.
Slightly more handsome.
Slightly.
It'd be difficult,
It would be.
but it's possible.
Man, there might be an AI version of me that comes out without the lazy left eye, and then it's game over. You know?
They just have perfectly clear skin.
Yeah,
Not one
yeah.
little pimple popping up.
Man,
God.
6 foot.
That's something we'd have to fight over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what's the second key problem?
AI content is good enough, and that is, I think, a really scary place to be at. Once
Yeah.
it gets to that level where we're not going to be able to tell the difference. I saw a gal the other day that popped up my feed, and it just this look that I was like, something's dead in those eyes. Something's dead.
So you thought it was real and it was an AI influencer?
I had an inclination that it was fake, but
Yeah.
I couldn't tell right off the bat, and it took me going to the page and like damn near looks exactly how any sort of like travel influencers page
Sure.
would look, and you could just slightly tell, man, there's that lifeless look behind those two eyes.
Yeah.
But it had real comments. That's the even scarier part. Is I'm like,
That's crazy.
So many stupid men are like falling for this,
Yeah.
and like, oh my god, you look so good. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. The 50-year-old boomers on Facebook, we're done for, man. They're done for.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah, there's a lot of accounts that are just fully AI influencers that are posting on a daily basis, and a lot of people just cannot tell if they're real or not. So they go ahead and leave comments looking for a reply back from this account holder. But yeah, you want to you say, you know, don't you realize that there's no one there? It's all fake. Well, I mean, it is a fake account in the way that it's not a real person, but there's also someone behind that account managing it. So if you do comment, eventually there will be a reply back, right? So I don't know how you want to take it here. If it's the creator behind that account is creating these artificial influencers, but at the same time there is a human behind there. Might not be a female controlling a female influencer account, but it could be a male controlling that female influencer account. But at the end of the day, there is a human controlling that. Now, when there isn't one at all, then that's when it's going to start getting really interesting.
Video where it's the AI news reporter, and then it's like, oh, I'm here and it's flooding, and then you see a shark circling it,
Yeah.
and then the comments are, I'm totally getting scammed when I'm 80. Like, AI content's gonna get so good in the next 40, 50 years.
I also think right now the barrier to entry for them is low. Like they're able to make stuff quite quickly.
Yeah.
And then they're not these platforms. For example, I know that OpenAI is being sued by Disney for copyright infringement for using The Simpsons and using different Disney like Mickey Mouse sort of situations
Oh, wow.
and training their platform.
What if you could?
By the way,
It's still the mouse sort of situations
Oh, wow.
and training.
what he just said about, because everybody's like prompting a lot of intellectual copyright stuff, there's going to be a crazy disruption, a crazy copyright war, because so much is going to start flooding the system that they just won't know what to do. This is going to be exactly what happened with the music industry when Napster came out, and then all these platforms came out with music. It was uncontrollable.
Their platform. So it's still the Wild West. Like, these companies are operating in a lawless kind of environment, which is allowing them to scale so much faster. Granted, thank God for the Disneys of the world being like whipping down on them and be like, hey, that's not cool. It's a huge lawsuit that they're going after them for, and they will win because they've trained it on like tons of Disney IP and allowed people to spread that sort of IP around, which is not okay. So it's crazy though, because there's not anything in effect, and these people are also helping the government use them. So this is just getting even weirder and weirder. I think like there isn't another higher power that is overseeing them, like they say they're overseeing them. Yeah, but they're really not. They are the ones paving the way. So it's so interesting to kind of think about what the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years will look like and what jobs will be replaced. I mean, dude, you even walk outside here where we live in West Hollywood. You know what I see every day? I see Waymos everywhere. I see self-driving cars everywhere. And they're becoming more and more frequent, where it started off as just like, you see one every now and then. And now they're everywhere. I mean, you're literally at a stop sign. There might be 3 of them at a stop sign.
It's like,
well, because I mean, people want delivery. Like, they don't go out and pick up the food anymore. It's all delivery. And you know, right now, what people are delivering your food, but it's just like, there's been so many weird things happening with the delivery service. I mean, you got drone delivery coming soon. I mean, most of the Midwest in the U.S. has drone delivery. You know, so they're not even driving your packages to your home. They're dropping them off from the air
with a Tesla.
There's this world where in California and San Francisco and in, you know, Los Angeles, where those cars are going to be taking over a majority of the road. Yeah. And like, I know that's not at all what we're talking about right this second, but I think you should start to think about that, because you might not be in an area where that stuff is starting to like play out in front of you. And we're seeing it right here, and it's happening like right before our eyes. Yeah. Right? And we're so deep in content. Like, we are in this world. Like, I see it. And like, we talk to experts like our friend Kane, and we talk to other people online, and seeing like what their thoughts are and what the future might look like for us. I think that the best thing we can do is talk as a community, and like in our comments in this video, like talk to each other and see what you guys are thinking. And
well, I mean, if you know, here's a good example. You're a podcaster, you're making podcasts all day, 24/7, making podcasts, talking. You're not leaving the house. You know, order it on your phone and then have these little robots bring it to you. And there's a market there. There's definitely a market there. And if people don't leave their house, it's going to get delivered. And most likely, it's going to be way cheaper to get these little robots to deliver food or whatever it is than, you know, using a car and somebody driving it. Unfortunately, we build a service, an industry, but that industry will be disrupted, you know, based on cost.
And what you think, like what we can do to stand out as a team, like we're in this together. Instead of turning a blind eye, I think that's the worst thing we could do, and be like, oh, we'll just pick our heads up in 2 years and see where this whole thing is at. I think that can get really scary really fast.
Yeah. So going back to what we were saying about the AI content is good enough and that's dangerous. The reason why that's dangerous, right? I think about what Oren was talking about a few episodes ago. And he said, you have either entertainment content or value content. And if it's not either of those two things, it doesn't work. And so if the AI content is good enough at being entertaining or good enough at providing you the value, then it's no longer where the human content is preferred or is good enough to stand out, because you might say right now, oh, I prefer the human content.
Yeah, of course, we all do.
But if you're entertained enough by the AI content, or if you get enough value from the AI content, if the AI content is good enough, you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna just rock with the AI content.
And I think this is an example of
exactly. He said it. He said it exactly how it is. It all depends on the market. If the market is entertained or gets value from whatever's given it to them, that's where the audience will go.
Those silly videos that I was talking about at the beginning of these pandas having 100,000 views and likes, 100,000 likes, and people commenting on it and being like, haha, this is hilarious. Like, that is what scares me, because that is clearly entertaining, where in 3 years, not even, dude, in the next year, 24 months, I could see a world where you're going to have these young directors making like content that would be created by Pixar in a matter of a month. Like, think about that world and what that's going to look like. And on one side, we could say, oh, well, it's becoming more accessible to people. Yes, 100%. Now, on the other side of it,
well, the market is just like this industry of creating and editing that for the last 20, 50 years was expensive. I mean, in the last, going back to the 80s and 90s, it was super expensive. And then if you go into the 2000s and until now, it got much cheaper and much more independent and much more accessible. And now it's down to the most cheapest time ever, where the tools necessary and the way things have been created or produced is literally accessible instantly in seconds.
it's going to be crazy with the amount of layoffs in the creative field.
Totally.
Because of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, because if it's layoffs, there's still another market or another sector that is creating the jobs, right? So if the people that are getting laid off because they are let's say the dinosaurs, right, of the content creation, well, over there, they're starting a new sector of new creations.
And even in the coding field and like what that's looking like. And
data analyst. See you later.
How many people are being replaced right now with these jobs? And like, this is level 1.
Yeah.
You imagine what level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is going to look like.
Now this brings us to our.
The thing is that what they don't tell you is, I mean, they're bringing up amazing points. These are amazing points. The thing is that needs to be understood is a lot of these jobs for the last couple of years, especially in the tech or the computer industry, until now, all these jobs were being done by humans because there was no how would I say, like there wasn't an engine that put everything together eventually, because everything was just repetitive. It's just copy and paste. It was like formulas that have been produced a million times over and over. So all this stuff eventually did have a dead end when an engine that could do it all at once was created, and now that's where we're at now. It's sad, but at the same time, I'm thinking that it's going to open up other areas that we don't even know about yet.
Our third problem, which is brands don't care who made it. They just care that it works. Brands care about ROI.
Talk about brand deals for me right now. Does that scare you?
It does a little bit. I mean, that's one of the questions I texted Kane. I go, is there a world where brand deals just don't exist anymore? And he goes, yeah. Which is like, what the fuck?
And then you think about the money that they're spending with us on these deals and how cheap it's going to be to go with like an AI agency, right?
Yeah.
So I think we really need to be thinking about what makes our stuff unique and what we can do to put our own spin on.
Well, they won't even have to go to an AI agency. It would be all in house, because they're eliminating the agency that would create the creative, and now they have access. Like everything that emerged through time, it got more consolidated. Now all the companies, like the brands, like Nike and Adidas and all these sports brands and all these clothing brands, now would have the access in-house, someone in-house, on like creating the whole strategy and the whole campaign with these engines
on it right now. And I do think we'll talk about this a little bit later in more in depth, but it's like you're going to have to become searchable. You're going to have to become very memorable on the feed and to people that like your stuff, and have something that's like, hey, you know, lean on your experiences and lean on the things that have happened to you, because that is one of one.
Yeah, I think with the brands, as shitty as it is to say,
they're gonna.
It's a business. Like they care about making money and getting results, and if they can do that with AI, cheaper, faster, sometimes maybe better, and it just outperforms because it's more optimized.
Right.
And it's cheaper. Like, why wouldn't you select that? You would like to think that, you know, a brand and a creator, they have this relationship. You'd hope. But I could see a world where like the brands are saying, if we're getting the same results using AI and we don't have to pay a premium for the creator, why wouldn't we just use AI? And so I think that's when the brand deals could start becoming a little bit less.
It's a tricky. That's a good point how you put it, because it's very tricky. I mean, you know, like now you have to decide if you want to go with AI or you want to go with a human. This is going to be across all industries. People will have to decide who they want to go with, and that's when the things start getting very, very, very spicy.
Yeah, and the money drops significantly.
Or, okay, talk about somebody who has a production company, right? If you're a photographer or videographer or a creative who is creating content for these brands, some of these productions cost
six to seven figures.
Yeah. And so if they can do it for a fraction of the price, why would they spend days pre-production, producing, post-production, hiring a ton of people, spending all this money when they can just hire AI to do it?
I'd like to think that it's still going to be like my company, for example, will hire prompt engineers that'll be still creating it. Because at the end of the day, this random person, it said brand, they don't know that it has to be shot on an 85 millimeter lens, and that lens gives a different look than a 24. Like they just don't know that.
Yeah.
So I still think that our jobs will look a lot different in the next 3 to 5 years. I think that we will have like a team of 3 or 4 or 5, and they will be prompt engineers, and I will be chatting with them about, hey, you know, this is the type of wide shot I want, or I want this to be a little bit different. I want this camera movement to be different. I think that it's just going to
You just said it right there. You become a consultant for the new generation of creators, prompt engineers, prompt creators, prompt writers. Like they don't know what to shoot with, you know, what kind of camera the AI needs to shoot with. So companies, like he's mentioning, like he's saying, evolve into consulting.
become so integrated into everything that we do. And if you don't, I think you will be obsolete.
I was talking to Evan Tanaka about this.
We chatted with it briefly on our shoot that we had together.
So he's specialized in food.
And product.
And what's interesting is he said he feels he's a little bit more safe than maybe other niches, because when it comes to food, there's so many guidelines of like, you have to be very transparent as to the ingredients that are used and what is shown in the content. And so with AI, it becomes a little bit tricky because it might look pretty, but you can't really be transparent as to like, if you're making a piece of content around food, if you're using AI, you won't really be able to tell what exactly is used ingredients wise to get that shot.
Come on, man. Seriously? You know all these commercials, pizza commercials, burger commercials, all these food industries that make all these great looking commercial videos are faking the whatever they're using. I mean, it's not real food. It's like glue for the mozzarella to make it more mozzarella-ish and more, you know, slingy. It's already being done. Like, it's the fakery is already there. The beautiful menus you see of the lettuce and the tomato and the how nicely, you know, moistured and sprinkled of water it is. It's all fake. We all know that. We don't want to believe it. Because then when we get the sandwich and we open up the wrapper and it looks like a piece of shit, what happened to that burger that I saw in the menu? So it's already being done in real life.
I think the government will have to step in and have regulations around can and cannot be used in all these various spaces, because otherwise they will go the cheaper route.
Yeah.
Like these brands will go the cheaper route. I see that happening. And I think like in Evan's case, we were chatting about that because we just did a product shoot together, and we were just saying like, you know, it keeps popping up on all the shoots that we've been on. Like that conversation does keep popping up. And it's like, you know, I think we will have to have people in the government step in and say like, hey, in this space, it can or cannot be used, or this is the capacity to which it can be used.
Or I even think about, for myself, right? Someone who shoots hotels and is in hospitality, like the travel influencer wouldn't like, imagine a hotel chain like the Hilton can say, oh, I'm going to have this one AI influencer visit every single one of my hotels and create content around it, where that is pretty much impossible for one actual real person. It's like, let's just take the AI travel influencer and let's send him to
no flights, no hotels.
Yeah. So it's kind of scary, and it's going to affect different niches differently.
And like we were saying earlier, it depends how quickly you're not able to tell the difference.
Exactly.
Because right at the second, for the most part, especially the people that are listening to our show,
By the way, another thing to kind of throw in there in this salad of conversation, all the stuff that's being produced, I think I said it in the beginning, everything that's being produced right now with this AI content creation machine, everything, videos, imagery, whatever you want to call it. Let's talk about videos. The content creators themselves that have been posting years after years after years are the ones that fuel this. All right. So, I mean, it's not getting it from anywhere. It's getting it from somewhere. It's learning from somewhere. So the people that created this in the real world, that created all these videos, all this content creation, fueled what you're seeing now. This massive tsunami of AI influencers, AI content creation.
you can tell. But some of them you can't. Like I was saying earlier, I saw that one person. I'm in it, and I immediately was like, something's off about this. Couldn't tell right off the bat. Had to scroll for a second.
What's scary about AI is that it's getting better and it's improving at an exponential rate. And so you think about 2-3 years ago, ChatGPT wasn't really a thing, right? Or like version 1 came out. Now we're on version 4. The video that we watch,
we're at 5 officially as of now.
You're not ready for super intelligence. It's talking about how by like mid 2027, we're going to be like another 4 versions like improved, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. And so it's really scary to think about where we're going to be in the next few years.
Number 4, jobs will be lost. We already touched on that a little bit, but I think familiarizing yourself with what is out there,
Jobs will be lost or jobs will be created.
trying out some of these platforms and seeing if it's something that you can add into your workflow. And I'm telling you, I think if you turn a blind eye, bad stuff's going to happen. Be on top of the updates that are coming in your space and what you see and what you're noticing people are looking into. The last thing I would do is wake up in 2 or 3 years and poke your head up and see what's going on.
I just think it's going to be very interesting to see what jobs exist, what new jobs come about, or what jobs are just completely gone in the next few years. I think about a copywriter. Why would you pay a full-time salary to a copywriter when you can just have ChatGPT write it probably better, and you can train it on your specific lingo, something like that? I'm like, dude,
The copywriting industry it's very, very like sensitive right now. It's very, very sensitive. So it's good he brings it up, because the copywriting industry should be the first ones to kind of uproar or start. They should just start talking. I think like what these guys are doing, what I'm doing with the reactions, getting involved, like just talking about it. I think that's the most healthy thing to do.
I don't know if copywriting is really going to be a job in the next couple of years. What do you think?
Copywriting is a really interesting one because I've worked with so many super talented copywriters, and I'd like to think, in my eyes, it'll be kind of what I said earlier with video, where you would still have a writer, they would use it as a tool, not totally replace them. I think it, like, let's say you had a team of 10, it'll probably be a team of 2.
Interesting.
I think that is the route that it'll go. Because at the end of the day, for example, let's say you own a company and you had 10 copywriters. Let's just use this example. You had 10 copywriters. You're no longer going to need, obviously, all 10, depending on all these various campaigns. Your 2 people would be able to act like 10 with the tools that they have at their disposal. But you're not going to want to write. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to want to be a cop. You don't have the time to do that. You own the business. So I still think that you're going to need these roles. I just think that they will get exponentially more competitive in the market. Like all of these jobs that are available right this second, you know, that potentially could be replaced in our eyes with some of the platforms that are out there and readily available. You'll just have a smaller team. And so, like, that's what we're seeing with the software engineers, right? They're saying, you know, these software engineers they're saying that Chat and Claude and all these different platforms are able to code 100 times better, to not make mistakes, whatever. At this exact moment, though, it still does make mistakes. It makes mistakes. It'll tell you a false link. It'll tell you something that's not true. So you still always are going to have to double check it, which in my eyes makes for you have a team of, instead of it being 1,000, maybe it's 150 or 200, but they still have to check the work.
But it's writing, it's creating code at a crazier speed than like 20 developers or coders. That's the kind of like the issue here. It's actually writing code faster than what coders would, you know, technically take a couple of months. This thing is doing it in a couple of minutes. But yes, it's still buggy. You know, like developers are also buggy. They have to go back and check if there's any errors.
You know what I'm saying? It's always, I believe, going to be someone engineering it, I hope. And that's what I'm thinking.
I was thinking about specifically when it comes to photo video world. What about events? Like, I don't think
events,
AI,
brother, sports videography. Sports videography, sports photography will be there to stay. That might be the one to get into. Seriously, because you're not gonna be. It's gonna have to be a real human telling the story. That's one that's not gonna get pummeled.
Or like concerts.
Concerts for sure. I think so too. 100%. Yeah. For example, how that's gonna get impacted is, instead of maybe, let's say you were a traveling concert photographer and maybe you had an editor at home. Maybe now you have a platform that knows your style. That is editing these photos together and pulling through them for you. So you're not staying up until 2 or 3, 4 in the morning going through your selects. Now that's something where you would train it on the different content that you've already liked, and then it would go ahead and do that for you. That's where I see this going. I don't think it's doomsday. I think that we just have to be.
No, it's not doomsday. It's definitely not doomsday. It's just a shift in the market. It's a shift in the creative industry. A lot of industries. It's a shift. It's a disruption. We have disruptions. I mean, it's the last one was during the internet, like the internet times, when it disrupted everything to the net, to the web, online. So this is kind of like that again, but in based on whatever was built on top of the internet.
Be very mindful as to the industries that can be impacted, and see if we do have to pivot. Fantastic, we're going to have to pivot. Like, that's just going to be the reality, I think, for a lot of the creative jobs, as well as just jobs as a whole. You know,
like for instance, when the internet was starting, when it was still baby, first phase, the internet, you know, like people didn't even know what an email was. The education system didn't even have like jobs, for instance, like a graphic designer or a website designer, UX, UI. That didn't even exist. Nobody knew what that was back in those days. An UX. Like if you went up to a company, it's like, you know, I'm here to apply for a UX designer, and they'll be like, what is a UX designer? We have no idea. We don't even have a website. If you even said, you know, do you have a website? I want to be your UX designer. People didn't, you know, company owners be like, I don't even know what a website is. Like, what is a website? And then you're coming in and saying you want to be a UX designer. Like, no, it's just, that was later, like years later.
You know, and seeing like what they're working on and what can replace us. Because at the end of the day, these companies are greedy. They're super greedy. They're going to try to hoard whatever they can.
Yeah.
And so we, as as society, need to be mindful of that and thinking about what we can do to protect ourselves.
100%. Number 5, algorithms are shifting and turning on creators.
Man, organic reach, you think it's going down? Do you feel like it's going down?
I feel like it was going down, but now it's kind of back on Meta. Again, like we were saying, with the feeds being completely flooded with AI content, organic reach might become extremely difficult to get. And so then I feel like you might have to be in this like pay to play, where organic reach might actually become very obsolete and not really a thing. And so to even get your content seen by new eyeballs, you're probably just going to have to run ads or put money behind maybe a new thing where it's not ads, but you're paying to get more organic reach. But then I guess that's kind of just like ads.
Yeah, it's
Well, I feel like, the organic versus, paid or AI, it's just going to bug out the algorithm again. It's going to shake it again. And now we're going to get a new algorithm because it doesn't know what to do now. Now it's getting a flood of AI generated content, and then there's human content paid for, and then there's organic stuff. So it's a shake.
Yeah, you're paying for organic reach.
It's not an ad.
It's not an ad though. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah, I could see a world where organic isn't really a thing and you're just gonna kind of have to pay to play.
We chatted with Kane about this having like a human only feed and what that could look like in the future.
And I think in theory, you're like, yes. I prefer
it'll work.
The human only feed.
Unless we all come together. I think if the whole world comes together,
get your
and it's
pitchforks.
Like, we get our pitchforks.
Meet on the street.
Yeah, and we burn some stuff.
Yeah.
We might have a chance.
But it kind of goes back to the point we made earlier of AI content is good enough. And so it's nice, in theory to say, oh, we prefer the human only content. But if you're getting enough entertainment or value out of the AI content, you're like, fuck it, I actually do prefer the AI stuff because it's funny enough, entertaining enough, or I'm getting enough value, and good enough is gonna maybe beat the human aspect.
God.
I know, interesting.
Subscribe to the pod.
Yeah, please.
Help us out.
Leave a comment.
Number 6, if you're not using AI, you're already behind.
Yeah.
We've talked about this multiple times in this episode, but be familiar with the tools that are at your disposal. I think testing it out for writing stuff, I think you can really tell right now, especially on LinkedIn, people are just copying and pasting like ChatGPT prompts.
Yeah.
Write stuff out, be a normal person, write things out, use it to use it to grammar check what you're doing.
Totally.
Don't use it to write the whole damn thing.
He's right. I mean, it's the experimental stage. This is going back to experimenting with all kinds of applications and seeing what works, what doesn't. We're at that stage. It's experimental. People are starting to build little recipes, templates. It's all new. It's all exciting. But it's the natural way of like what people do because they're taking advantage of these engines, these systems. They're built exactly to do what a human would use them for. So this is what you're seeing this, and this is the behavior of what they're built for. But it's just the beginning. It's just it's experimental right now. It could go this way, it could go that way. People are just exploring it. They're pushing it. That's the time. It's the time to learn it. It's the time to push the boundaries on it.
Sound so silly, and it really does sound extremely robotic, and like you can tell immediately. And I've been noticing people calling other people out for this, commenting, being like, yo, what are you doing here? You're just stealing some other script that someone else wrote.
Sure.
So I think
I don't see. He said something along the lines that you're stealing someone else's, but like I said before, this thing didn't just learn it on its own. The people that posted or published stuff on the internet, on social, fueled these engines. They were, that was the fuel for them to learn and to absorb and educate themselves. These engines educated themselves based on what content creators published and writers wrote and people spoke about. I mean, it's all stuff that it's just data, and then it's archives of historical information, and it's got all that. And it was only fueled by the humans that produced it. So I don't know if, see, that's a good way to, like, is stealing the word, right? Is stealing the word for this, because it's made for this. It's made to produce writing. It's made to produce imagery. It's made to produce video.
That is going to become a thing. And like we were saying earlier, with some of the tools that we've been using for years, AI has already been integrated into Photoshop, into like content aware, or like, you know, that stuff has been there. It just now looks a little bit different.
Subtitles on Premiere. When they dropped that
was huge.
Game changer.
Game changer for us. It sped up our workflow so much, you know? And so not looking at that as like, I will never use this.
I think the main point is AI is here whether you like it or not, and you can either choose to adopt it and bring it into your business or workflow as a creator. And if you don't, you're just going to be so far behind the 8 ball, because right now, over the past couple of years, it's become a lot more the norm to use ChatGPT or Claude. And in a few more years, it's going to be so the norm that if you're not using it, you're going to be like, what are you fucking doing, buddy? Like, what do you mean you're still writing your scripts yourself? Like, just type it into chat. You know what I'm saying? And so I think you just got to embrace.
Yeah, he has a great point there. Eventually, this is going to be it's like having your phone with you everywhere you go, that it's just going to be like a normal cultural thing. He's got a great point.
That AI is here and that it's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to get better. All right, now let's talk about why most creators, I would say about 90 to 95% of creators, are just going to be obsolete and get obliterated when it comes to content.
The generic stuff is done for.
Totally.
If you're copy and paste, if you're Mr. Copycat Rock, it ain't going to work anymore.
You got to find a way to be unique and to stand out, which we'll talk about in a bit. You can't outwork AI.
That's the big hit thing we need to hammer home. Dude, it doesn't have sick days.
No.
It doesn't have sick days, doesn't get sad.
I mean,
maybe it does.
Dude, I remember we did our 30-day challenge of posting every day, and I was pretty burnt out.
I was ready to crawl
days.
in a rock and just...
And AI is going to look at you and say, it's going to have the Mamba mentality. Dude, AI has the Mamba mentality, okay? Kobe goes, oh, this dude's working out from 9 to 10. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to work out from 5 to 7, then eat breakfast, then go back to the gym 9 to 11, eat lunch, then I'm going back 5 to 7 p.m. and going to bed, and I'm going to beat all of you. That's AI. We're getting burnt out after posting 30 days in a row and thinking we did something.
With organic reach potentially being obsolete.
It's true. I mean, it's 24/7, 365.
People are going to have to want to search out your content.
Totally.
That might be the world that we live in here in the next year. So I want to now talk about the top 10 tips that creators can use to actually survive.
I would say we have about, if I was to make a guess, 6 to 12, maybe 18 months before we see like a real shift happening. So
it's going to be real slow, and then it's going to like kind of compound.
I feel like it's kind of starting, like the snowball effect has already happened. So that's why we feel like we have like 6 to 12, maybe 18 months, but we have 10 tips. We're calling it
I think even sooner. I think it's eventually it's just going to go gonna slingshot.
Creator survival plan. 10 tips that we want to give you that you can start implementing into your content strategy as a creator or a business to help you stand out as AI continues to ramp up and become more prevalent in all of our lives.
Okay, we need to build a sticky personal brand.
Sure do.
That's number one. That's kind of buzzwordy though. So how can we actually build a personal brand that people are looking for and wanting to actually continue to connect with as that content begins to flood the feed?
You have to be something that people search for, so your positioning has to be even stronger. You kind of got to go more niche, and you want to try to be known as the person for one specific thing as opposed to being super broad. the riches are in the niches, and AI, it can copy your content, the formats that you do, but it can't really copy your character. But I think that the more defined your positioning is, the more chance you'll have at creating a sticky personal brand and standing out.
We have tons of episodes about building a strong personal
Yeah.
brand, so you should go check some of those out after you watch this episode. Number 2, though, okay, use AI as your co-pilot. You should be using ChatGPT as like a bounce board.
Totally.
Use it as a bounce board. Ask questions. If you're making a website, and you have an idea for what the top 4 things on the top should be of your banner or something, ask it a few questions and see if there's anything that you're missing out on. Again, don't be a brainless zombie and just say, do this whole thing for me. It's not going to make you think. I feel like we're going to get in. It's a topic for another day. We're going to get into a period of time where the younger generation, they're not going to be even thinking. Dude, that's probably what our parents.
That's where it's going. That's exactly where it's going. Think about it. I mean, if you could just create a video just by asking to create a video or an image or write me whatever you have to, like, why not? It's hard to think about it in a generation where we had to do that. But a younger generation that is brought up with this technology, it's not so easy for them to go back and say, I'm going to spend, like 2 weeks writing this thing and like cage up the AI engine where it can actually help me like produce the whole thing. It's hard. It's hard to understand that concept because the idea behind it is that you don't want people to not, I guess, think for themselves, right? But we don't know yet what the outcomes are from this type of thinking because we never had it. We never had this. We didn't have something where it can literally produce something for you in seconds. So till this time right now, we can think about something that we want to create, but I feel like it's that bandwidth between what we're thinking we want and what this can do and turn it into reality at a faster bandwidth. But we don't understand that yet. We don't have that, and we don't have that concept. So I don't know how it's going to work out for a younger generation. It's interesting right now. It's experimental. So
The group thinks about us, like these kids and their tech.
Damn iPhones.
These kids and their tech. And we're going to be looking at this young group and they're not even going to be able to speak in a room because they're going to be just like little robots.
I think the main point is because businesses and creators that are using AI are going to be able to create content at such a rapid rate, and there's going to be so much content flooding the feed, to be able to like keep up, you're just going to have to ramp up the amount of content that you're posting. And so you got to use AI to your advantage, use it to script, ideate.
but also, like, I mean, come on, look where we are now. Like, you're telling, like, there's so many people just telling this younger generation that wants to be on social marketing and all that they have to post like 100 pieces a day, and it's like nonstop. I mean, if that's the reality right now, what do you think it's going to go from there? I mean, 100 pieces a day, that's nothing. I could do like 1,000 with this engine. So it's either that or we turn everything off, because otherwise I don't see where there's only 2 roads. I don't see a middle road here.
Edit, whatever way you can use AI to help you create more content faster and better. Use it to your advantage. Don't have it replace you, but let it help you. That way you can kind of keep up.
Number 3 is to build a home, not just a feed. So, for example, we potentially would have an email list. If I was you guys, I would look into something like that, to where you're getting the community off of Instagram or off of Facebook, because God, if that actually becomes a thing and we can't get any of our stuff seen, and let's say you have to pay to play and you're like, I can't do that right now, having an email list or a Discord community or just somewhere that people can be hosted and like where your community can live, so you're not relying on people seeing your stuff every single day.
The algorithm feels like it's constantly changing. And so because we can't predict you know, how the algorithm is going to continue to change, you want to kind of try to escape it as much as possible. Go direct to your followers, direct to the consumer. If you can get the email, or like you said, a Discord, somewhere where you can go directly to them, where you're not fighting an algorithm for organic reach, you're just able to like foster a community better and go straight to your followers without having to compete against an algorithm.
I could even see a world where we might be making stuff like it might be it might be a situation to where you build up a group of people who really want to support your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Almost like a Patreon-esque situation where you're providing value on a very specific topic.
That's interesting.
And you're only creating for that group. I could see that becoming a thing.
Almost where you're creating like a newsletter specific piece of content. Like right now it's kind of just written, but maybe it's like, okay, we're going to make a 3-minute video specifically for the newsletter. It's not even going to live on YouTube. Like we're not even going to try to go viral with this.
I could even see, I think we just need to be mindful of what the applications are prioritizing. So
Yeah.
I think of a situation like Van Neistat where he makes one on a subscription-based platform and one on YouTube and bops back and forth. There could be a world, and it could shift in the next few years, where they're not getting their stuff seen, organic reach is dead, and they might solely be creating on a subscription-based platform for people that want to support them and want to keep seeing them make videos. It's almost like, you know, we're funding our own favorite show. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Really cool. Good points. What these guys brought up at the 505 podcast. So yeah, I just wanted to check it out, see what people are thinking, what the train of thoughts are. Very, very good points. Good philosophy and a lot of stuff here. And yeah, this is it. We're in that disruption era, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'll leave the link to their podcast so you can watch the entire podcast and continue along the show. But for now, I'm out of here. Peace.